Hey guys, so this is the first lecture that we'll be doing. We're just going to be covering the fundamentals of Unity as well as how to use it, how to download all that stuff. I'm joined by Lauren, so if you guys can't make it, um, I'll just record this and I'll be sending this soon to the Discord server. So anyways, yeah, so the first thing we'll want to do is use any browser of your choice, search up Unity Hub Download, because that's where you'll be using Unity. And yeah, as you can see, there is a big download button right here. So if you click on this, um, it should download. And if you're using Mac or Linux, you should press that button, especially for Mac users, just press Mac. Um, but since I'm installing Unity Hub right now, as you can see, it's installing. I already have it installed, so I'm just gonna open that. So once you click on this setup, press yes to the Windows pop-up, press agree to the terms and conditions, and then press install. Once it's done installing, you should have this little icon right here. Um, Either on your desktop, or if you want, you can have it um, in your taskbar. Since I already installed it, I have a couple projects here, but if it's your first time using Unity, then you'll have to install an editor. Simply click on Install Editor and press the recommended version. So I'm going to press that right now. And as you can see there, it comes with several options here, including Microsoft Visual Studio, which is what we'll be using to code on our games. So if you want, you can check mark on these other things. I have Windows build support, WebGL build support, Mac build support checked, purely because we could be publishing our games on these platforms. But you don't have to. What you do need is Microsoft Visual Studio. So once you press install, it will take some time. So just wait for it all to download. But since I already have an editor in use, I'll just be using that current one. But download the recommended version. Then press new project. Make sure it's 3D, which is the built-in render pipeline. Now you can name your project anywhere, anything you want. You should save this somewhere you'll remember. I have it saved in my Unity projects folder, but I'm just gonna call this my first club Unity project and then press create. So this will take some time as well. Okay, so the next part, now that you have this scene open, the next part we're gonna cover is this entire thing. So it may look really complicated at first. Lots of buttons, lots of UI menus, all these things. But I'll go over all of these things pretty briefly, purely because these are very simple to understand. So the first thing we have is the hierarchy. So the hierarchy is the things that are in this scene view right here. This is called the scene view, where you'll be able to like know and see what you're doing. You can place objects through the scene, and then that will eventually show up in the game view. So we have two main assets or two main game objects in this sample scene is what we call. So the camera and the directional light. I won't go over these today purely because I just want to cover the fundamentals. And something you can do is move around using the right mouse button. So if you hold that, you can move it around like this to get a good view of it. Uh, and to move like forward or backward, you can use the arrow keys. You can pan it using the middle mouse button. So this is how you pan it. And I'm pretty sure that covers all the main fundamentals of how to move throughout your scene. So you can use arrow keys like this to go forward or backward, left or right, or you can just rotate the camera like this, the view like this. Yeah. Next thing I'll be teaching you is how to add game objects. So simply right click in the hierarchy and press 3D object. For now, we're gonna be creating a cube. Uh, and as you can see, this is the cube we have right now. Um, Now, if you see this right, inspector tab, this is where you can manage and manipulate all the properties of the game object. So in this case, the game object we're clicked on, that we have, our that we clicked on is the cube. So you can manipulate its position. Actually zero this out. Zero, zero, zero. It rotates it in a 3D view. The x-axis is the red arrow right here. You can manipulate that by moving it back and forth like this. Y is up and down, and Z is the blue arrow. So that's basically the transform. You can even rotate it, um, do lots of cool things with it. Just play around with it once you see this recording. But this is one of the components of this cube. We also have a mesh filter and a mesh renderer. These basically help you see the game object itself. Um, for example, if we disable this, we can't see the mesh at all. But if we do enable it, it's going to be visible again. So you'll want to keep this on. We won't do much with this, um, purely because we'll be creating our own materials using Blender. So don't worry too much about this, but something you do need to worry about is the box collider. What the box collider does is, for example, let me actually disable this mesh render. If you see this green outline, that's actually the box collider. Um, the thing about this collider is it enables the object to touch other objects, have physical interactions with it. Um, so there's an element of physics to this. So I'm going to enable this again. And something I'm going to do to prove to you how box colliders work is I'm going to add another game object called a plane, have it right below and once you do that, something we're going to do is add a component to this cube so that it falls. This component that I'm about to add is called the rigid body. Make sure it's rigid body and not rigid body 2D because 2D is used for 2D games, whereas we're in a 3D project. What this does is basically adds mass, physics, and gravity to act upon this game object. So simply press this play button, and what happens is this game view will, okay, give it a second. Now, as you can see, I don't know if the if the recording caught that, but this did, this game object just fell. So it's like gravity is acting upon this once the rigid body is enabled. But something else I want to tell you is once we remove this while in play view, let's remove the rigid body from the cube. Now in the scene view where you can edit what to do with the object, you can see that it's not moving. It's just there, like floating. But if we add the rigid body again, it proves like this does add gravity to the game object. Now this box collider is what's keeping this game object from phasing through this plane. Now if I disable the box collider, let me disable it, you can see that it just went through. So basically, these two components are the main two components that we'll be using throughout the year. Just play around with it, experiment with it. I didn't cover everything, obviously, so you guys may need to like let me know any questions you have. I may have not gone in depth, or you may have found something confusing. So just let us know in Discord, ask questions. No one's gonna hate on you. We're here to teach you guys. I'll be making the next lecture soon, but this is just the fundamentals. I'll also be posting a quiz for this lecture later today. Um, if you guys really want to test yourself and know how much you know about Unity. But yeah, that's pretty much it for this lecture.